Simone, Diana, Kaisa, I think, and Taylor. Hello! And now I can see everyone. Oh, that's awesome. So what we're going to do today, I am going to give us a short presentation about composition, like a little teaser about the main composition rules. And then we're going to have a Q&A. So you guys can ask your questions. Any questions? If it's anything about the presentation, great. If it's something different, great. We're going to have a Q&A session for about 15-20 minutes. So the whole thing shouldn't last any longer than 45 minutes. We know you're busy and like it's almost dinner time. You've got, your kids and stuff. So it shouldn't last any longer than 45 minutes. But then at the end, you get to ask all your questions. So
exactly. And also, I'm just going to tap in here a little bit. So Julia is going to do the whole presentation, but I will stand here. And if you have some questions, then you can type them in the comments as well. And we will then it's easier to manage everything here as well. And then also turn off your mics while we have the presentation. And then later on, sometimes we just have a super nice chat and everyone are just chatting and it's like a community here in general. So it's
yes, we get to know each other and stuff. Also, can you guys all hear me fine? Because my internet connection, I'm not sure what's going on, but it's looking a little weird. So can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, good stuff. Awesome. So I'm going to share my screen now. But yes, if you've got questions during the presentation, type it in the comments because Laura's there to help. And then I can address them at the end of the presentation as well. Or as I go, we'll see, we'll freestyle it depending on the question. But if you have questions, please do ask. So I'm going to mute everyone. Okay, and I'm gonna share my screen. So make sure you pin the screen big so you can see the presentation properly. Present, a tab, this, share. Okay, all right, can you see my presentation screen? Okay, yes? And can you hear me fine? Okay, good stuff. Thank you. All right, so we can begin. All right. Okay, so today we talk about the basic concepts in composition. This is a basic, one of the most important topics in food photography because regardless of the tool that you're using to capture the photo, whether you're using a smartphone, a DSLR, a fancy professional camera, it doesn't matter. If you don't know composition, your photo will not turn out as well as if you apply some of the basic rules of composition. So composition really helps your photo stand out regardless of the tool that you're using. The aim of composition is guiding the eye of the viewer through the picture and put emphasis on your subject. So composition tells us where we need to place not only our subject, but also all our props and all of our, storytelling elements in order for the picture to not only look good, but also tell the story that we want to tell and guide the eye of the viewer through the picture the way we want them to see the picture. So from the whole story until we get to the subject, and it makes our subject really stand out. So here I used 3 examples of 3 of the basic rules of compositions. You might have heard about some of these, but I will explain them to you in more detail today. So we have the rule of thirds, the rule of odds, and the rule of symmetry. These are 3 of the most basic techniques. They're very, very easy to apply, and they instantly can change your photos from looking meh to looking woo, awesome. So let's dive deeper into each of these. So as I mentioned, what is composition? It's a set of visual rules. So that helps us as photographers because especially when you're a beginner, you don't really know what to do, how to start, where to place your subject. So having this set of rules actually puts your mind at ease, because it's like, okay, I know that there's something called the rule of thirds. So if I apply that, I know that immediately my composition will work. So I'm just going to stick to that for a bit. And then as you progress and as you start learning these rules by heart, you don't think about them rationally, you just apply the rules as they are, and then you're able to use more advanced composition techniques as well. So it's a set of visual rules that helps us structure our image. As I mentioned, the aim of composition is guiding the eyes of the viewer through the whole of our image. The composition is, these visual rules will help us emphasize our subject. They're aesthetically pleasing, obviously. And composition, these rules tell us where we want to place our subject and when and where we want to place our props. So it all makes sense. We have some of these basic rules. We're not going to talk about all of these today because this is like a little teaser, like a shorter version. But these are all the rules that I talk about in the proper video class about composition. Today, we're going to talk about the rule of thirds, the triangles, the rule of triangles, the rule of repetition, and the rule of negative space. Laura loves this one, the negative space. It's so useful and efficient. And the other ones that I talk about in the video class are the golden ratio, which is one of the best composition rules. Like if you know the golden ratio, bam, that's it. Your photography is already to the next level. The rule of odds, the golden triangles. Some of these are a little bit more advanced, like the golden ratio. The golden triangles are slightly more advanced composition rules. The symmetry, which you might guess what it is, and frame in frame. So today we focus on 4 of these rules. All good so far? All right. Okay, so let's start with the rule of thirds, which is the most basic rule of composition. So you might have heard about this 1,000 times, and if you haven't, then take notes, because again, this is so simple to apply, so simple to apply, but it will change your photos from like this to like this, from meh to wow. So what is the rule of thirds? You might have noticed in your phone, everywhere in your camera, there's a grid that divides the whole frame into 9 rectangles, right? That grid is not casual. It's placed there because basically our eyes subconsciously, we look at images in a certain way. It's not casual the way we look at images and the way our eyes stop in certain parts of the frame. Our eyes subconsciously will focus more and quicker on certain parts of our frame. These parts are basically alongside or at the intersections of these third lines. So these lines that form a grid tell us where our eyes focus quicker and sharper. So subconsciously, our eyes will stop at the intersections mainly or alongside the lines. Therefore, when we want to take good photos that are visually balanced and impactful, we will place our subject or our subjects on the intersections or along the lines. So it depends on the subject that you're shooting. For example, if you have something round, like in this case of the paella, my plate is round and my pan is round. So in this case, it works better for me to place my main subject at the intersections. So my main plate is in the bottom right intersection point right here, and my pan is at the top left, okay? It doesn't really matter which intersection you choose. You could have placed this plate easily in this intersection rather than in this one. It doesn't matter as long as it's placed on one of these 4 intersection points. While if you have a subject that is maybe like long and thin, like, I don't know, like a zucchini or like a celery stick or something like that, or like a glass that it's long and thin, a bottle or something like that, then it's also effective if you place it, if you align it to the lines. So it doesn't necessarily need to be in the intersections, it can also be on the lines. And this is very easy to do because, again, your camera and your phone will have this visual grid that you can activate it. Therefore, you don't really have to guess. You just put your subject there in that point, or you align it with the third line, and you will automatically see that your composition is a lot better and a lot more balanced. Now, another one. This one is also a really good one, and it pairs with the rule of odds. So basically, if we place elements in triangles, odd elements, obviously 3 elements, we place them in triangles. This is visually pleasing to the eye, and the eye can kind of make sense of the triangular shape very easily. So it will find your composition very appealing, and it will find it like triangles add a bit of movement to the composition as well. So they're a very effective way to make our image visually pleasing to the eye. So in this photo, for example, I used many triangles, many triangles, as well as the rule of thirds, because if you place an imaginary grid on top of this image, you would notice that this chocolate, my main chocolate, is at the intersection, the top right intersection of my rule of third grid. So you can mix different composition techniques. In this case, you always, when you place your elements around your subject, try and place them in triangles. Group of elements count as one point of the triangle. So you might see that here there are 2 little fudge squares, and here there are also 2 fudge squares. However, our eyes perceive these 2 as one element. So I created this triangle with fudge pieces. My one point is here, one point is here, and one point is down here. So this one is a visual triangle. Our eyes perceive it as a triangle. And I did the same thing with my chocolates. So these 3 chocolates at the bottom count as one element, despite the fact that there's 3 of them. That's one element of the triangle. These 2 on the top, again, count as one element. And this lonely one, it's just lonely by itself, but it's the third point of the triangle. So this is another triangle. And the little cocoa nibs are also forming a triangle. So when you place all these elements, a little bit of crumbs, like all your herbs and stuff, try and place them following this rule. Now, to make it as effective as possible, try and make the triangle so they're not super obvious, like in your face. Like, try and make them look slightly random. So they shouldn't be perfect triangles, like with 45-degree angles and stuff. You should like mix and match them to make them look a little bit more random. Otherwise, it's too obvious for the eye, and it kind of gets a little bit static, the composition. While if you put them slightly randomly, then you add mess and you add interest and all of that lovely stuff. So if you're unsure, triangles is is an effective way to place your herbs and your props around your subject. Repetition. How are we doing so far? Yeah? Awesome! Good stuff. Again, if you have questions, pop them in the comments and we will answer them either now or later at the end. So now we have 2 more rules and then we're done. These ones, Laura loves these, and so do I. So again, these are very simple. Like you can apply them instantly and already make your composition look a lot better. Repetition is another one of these visual rules that our eyes find very, very, very appealing. Why? Because by creating a pattern and repeating the same element multiple times in a frame, our eyes can relax because they know what's going to happen. They know, okay, these are all circles, fine. So like the stress from the visual stress that they go under, that they can relax and they can just focus on other important things in our composition. For example, the colors and the textures and all of that. So by repeating elements, you help the eyes focus on important things in your frame. Whoopsie, sorry, not there yet. What can you repeat in a frame? Not only can you repeat shapes, so in this case, we've got 5 circles because all of the plates that I used are round. So I repeated not only the shape, but I also repeated the textures. So I repeated the green of the kale, textures and colors, because the green of the kale, the white of the cheese, and the red of the soup. So you can use the repetition rule with different elements in your frame. It doesn't really necessarily have to be shapes. It can be colors, it can be textures, elements, anything. But again, it helps the eye just like relax. It adds a sense of security and comfort to your image. So it's another very, very, very effective rule. And the last one, which I got a sneak peek of, is negative space. Laura loves this one. Negative space is basically, what is negative space? Negative space is every part of the frame that is not occupied by elements. So, or by your subject, or by, you know, these props or mess or anything. So it doesn't necessarily need to be completely empty. My negative space here obviously includes the texture of my background and some of the seeds and stuff. So like if there were some berries here and stuff, that would still be considered negative space. So negative space is everything that doesn't include elements. Why is it important and why is it effective as a composition technique? Because despite the fact that you might think otherwise, it's like, oh, but your subject is lost there and it's tiny, tiny, tiny. Yes, but no, and mainly no. It's because by leaving all this empty space around, what you're doing is actually you're putting emphasis on that subject. Despite it being smaller, you're actually allowing your eyes to go straight there. So you're leaving breathing room for the eyes to not get tired by clutter and to just focus on your subject. When we have a picture like this, which might have lots of colors, lots of elements, lots of textures, if our subject and our elements fill the whole frame, what happens sometimes is the image can feel a little bit cluttered and a little bit visually heavy, meaning there's lots going on and your eyes are just like, whoa, all over the place. While if we leave negative space around it, your eyes can just like relax. Again, it's a similar concept to the repetition where your eyes know what's going on and they find comfort in that. It's the same, similar concept here. Because of all the negative space, your eyes have a place to rest and then they can focus, they can regain energy and focus on your subject again. Also, if you're a blogger or if you take your photos for social media, whatever the reason, like this, for example, was shot for a magazine, negative space is really good for text. Like if we want to be practical about it, if you shoot your images with a little bit of negative space around, obviously you can always crop in to reduce the negative space. However, if you ever need some of that space for some text, then you got plenty of options here. For example, in this case, down here, I left all the space to put the recipe for the smoothie. So again, if you're a blogger, these are really helpful and useful for Pinterest as well, because obviously then you can put like a catchy title here, like, I don't know, a smoothie a day, keep the doctors away, or, you know, something like catchy like that. Then you have the space to do so. And also your image will not feel too cluttered if you decide to add some text for whatever reason. So very important, negative space. And can we mix different composition rules? Absolutely, I encourage you to do so. As I mentioned at the beginning, once you learn all of these basic rules, and you start applying them consistently, what happens after a while is that you just don't think about them as in a structured way anymore. They just come to you. Like you instinctively start placing things at the intersection of the rule of thirds. You instinctively start placing things in triangles. So when I created this image, I used various composition techniques. One, as I mentioned, is the rule of thirds. I used the triangles. I used the golden ratio here. I used the golden triangles here. So this composition can be an example of many different composition rules. So how do you mix composition rules effectively? They need to make sense together. So you shouldn't make them feel forced as too static, as if you're applying the rules like in a book or in a very structured way. They should feel natural and they should make sense together. In this case, they do feel natural. Like you can't really tell by looking at the picture, oh, okay, here, you can't really analyze it that much. Oh, she used the triangles, or she used the golden ratio, blah, 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 because I didn't really do it. I did it unconsciously, I guess, instinctively. So the rules that you use, they need to make sense together. They need to complement each other, and there shouldn't be much clutter. As in, if you're repeating elements just for the sake of repeating elements, or just because you want to add that rule into your composition, it might not work if it's forced. So you always have to do what's visually pleasing rather than applying the rules just because there's a rule. So you don't necessarily need to apply all the rules, and you can break the rules. So go with your instinct. If by applying the rule you feel that something is not right, or doesn't look right, or feel forced, then no worries, like crap, fuck it. Just get rid of it and go with your instinct. But use the rules to give yourself a little bit of peace of mind. If you don't know where to start with the rules and then go with your guts. All right, let's break those rules. Yes, Laura, let's break the rules. So stop sharing. Oh, now I can see all your beautiful faces. And someone joined mid-presentation as well. So welcome, Laura. Welcome, Lisa. I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope it was all clear, kind of. So if you have any questions, I am here to answer all of your questions. And Laura's here to help answering questions as well. So if you have questions on composition, go for it. If you have questions about anything else, go for it. This is like a free Q&A. We have about a 15-minute Q&A session. So use us, ask, use our knowledge.
Do you have any specific composition tips for pancakes? That's
pancakes.
My next project.
Whoa, that's awesome. Yes. So with pancakes, ideally, you want to shoot at a low angle so that you get a nice stack. So you get the height of the stack. I don't know how you're planning to do the food styling on the pancakes, but generally the stack looks very nice. And yeah, because the stack is something that is tall and long, what you can do is you can use the rule of thirds and place the stack on one of the lines of the grid, so that either the left one or the right one, it doesn't really matter. Generally speaking, in the Western society, we tend to read from left to right. So if you place it in the left side of the frame, it's generally more effective for Western people, because again, that's how our eyes travel through the picture. So start by placing the... She's very interested in this. I love it. She's gonna get to eat the pancakes as well, maybe.
Oh yeah, after. We always eat food after.
Of course. That's the best part of the job.
Yeah.
So start by placing the stack on one of the third lines. And then if you want to put the props around it, you can place them by following the triangle. So for example, if you have, I don't know how you're going to style it, but like, let's say you style it with blueberries or raspberries, and you have like some raspberries at the top, that can be one of the points for your triangle. So then you can place 2 more raspberries on the background, for example, or maybe like a little bowl of raspberry in the background and like a couple of raspberries in the front to make that triangle with colors so that it will pop. You can do the same with mint or any other element that you decide to style your pancakes with. I don't know if you want to do some syrup pour. That always looks nice.
Yeah, I was going to try the syrup pour, but I'm just learning that. So, but yeah, those are awesome tips. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Share it. I can't wait to see it. When are you going to shoot it?
I was going to see if I can do it this afternoon. So, but usually during my kids' nap time.
Fair enough. And then when she wakes up, she's got breakfast.
Yeah.
Post it in the group so that we can see it and then we can give you feedback.
Okay, sounds good. I will. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. And also another idea that just came to my mind. Yeah. Maybe you want to fold the pancakes in triangles, put each triangle on a plate, and use the rule of repetition to place 3 plates.
Oh, yeah.
And shoot from above.
Aha.
Yeah, that's a good idea too. I like to do like a whole bunch of different shots and angles too. So
that's a great suggestion, Diana. Thank you. Very good food styling for if you want to shoot from above, indeed. Because if you have a big stack from above, you just see the top. It's not very interesting. What you mentioned about like dividing them into plates and stuff, that's a lot better if you're planning to shoot overhead. Much better composition. Thank you. Awesome.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Oh my God, I love this. It's like we're brainstorming as well as like answering questions and stuff.
Yeah, I usually try to shoot the subject from different angles, from different perspectives. My grid is divided in 3, and I always post 3 pictures of the same subject on my social media, on my Instagram. And this is why I always think about ways of shooting the same subjects, but differently.
Yes.
So that not all my pictures look the same.
That is an amazing way to vary your Instagram feed, create more content with less content. So very smart. And also it's a great skill to have. Are you a professional or do you want to become a professional?
Not at all.
Not at all?
No, I have another job. This is just a hobby.
That's a hobby
for me.
But you're doing it really, like you're taking it very seriously. I love that.
Yes.
You have fun.
I'm very fond of this hobby, so I try to practice it and try to be better at it.
That's awesome. And if you wanted to go pro, for whoever wants to go pro here, having the skill set that Diana just mentioned, so being able to shoot the same subject from different angles and knowing how to plate it and how to the composition, it's very helpful because your clients will tell you, I want you to shoot pancakes from an overhead, and you need to be able to know how to do that. So shooting the same subject, styling it differently and stuff, it's bravissima. Very good skill to have. So what kind of like struggles do you guys find when you're styling, and because we have Laura's gonna give a presentation next week on styling with props and backgrounds. So if you can think of like questions and struggles that you have, let us know so we can tailor presentations based on like what you guys need to know, basically. I'm super excited for that one, Laura.
Yes, me too. I can't wait for this one.
It's on Thursday next week, so make sure you guys tune in to that one as well, because it's gonna make sense with the composition one. Like obviously these topics all go together. So you learn the composition, then you learn the props, and then the styling, and you put it all together, and beautiful, bellissimo. But what are your main struggles when it's about like composition? Because today we talked about that. Is there something?
I would say for me, to take elements away. I think I tend to overcrowd a lot because I feel it looks too simple.
Right.
So would you recommend when you're starting your composition layout, would you recommend starting with the main subject and then create your triangle or create your element around it? Or do you start with, example, your linen and then you create? Do you know what I mean? Like, where's your starting point?
Yes. Personally, okay, this is a bit of a personal choice, but personally, I like to start with my subject. I already have, generally speaking, like an idea of how my composition is going to look like. So first I choose the possible props that I'm going to put in. However, I first place my subject and then I place the props around it. And if you're struggling because you think your composition is overcrowded, then always, in food photography, always less is more, and go with the negative space rule. So like do some exercises on this, consciously choose to apply the negative space rule for your next, 2-3 shoots. Just go, okay, my regular pattern is that I tend to start putting things into my composition. No, this time it's just going to be minimal. It's going to be negative space based so that you can master that part. Therefore, whenever you will start shooting again, you will it's like muscle memory. You're building muscle memory for leaving negative space, and that will help you make your composition feel less crowded, even in the future when you want to add a few more props, because then you're gonna have that negative space versus too much clutter, and you'll find a nice middle ground, a nice balance. So practice the negative space rule. Laura, yes.
Yes, and I also have one tip there, because usually I remember when I started out, I did the whole styling and then I took my camera. But at some point I realized it's way wiser to put your camera on one spot and then start styling and then start making the composition, because then you're basically, you put this ball here, this one here, and bam, you have the rule of thirds or golden ratio, and you already have everything in the right spots. So definitely put your camera on one spot and then start working with the composition.
Yep, on a tripod. That's a very good tip. Because otherwise, if everything moves, including your camera, and your angle is always different, then it's a lot more difficult to create an effective composition because you can't really see what you're doing. So
exactly.
Yes, our shoots are normally to get to the final image, there's maybe 50 more images, each of which the props move by 2 millimeters. So if you make a GIF, it would be fun to see the little pepper pot moving. Oh no, 2 millimeters to the left. Oh no, actually too much. 2 millimeters to the right. No, so it's important that your camera is on a tripod if you want to create a more effective composition. Also, you're using Lightroom, Simone.
Yes, I use Lightroom.
If for whoever uses Lightroom here, and I recommend you do if you don't, so use Lightroom, in the crop panel, you can, by pressing O, on your keyboard, you can select different grids. So you will be able to exactly see the grid, or you can also see the golden ratio spiral, or you can see the golden triangles. So by pressing O in the crop grid, you can adjust your composition based on the rules, because there's the overlay. So that's very helpful as well.
I do that. I use that one.
Yes, Simone. Well done. It's just to make your life easier. Oh, in Lightroom. Yes, thank you, Laura. That's awesome. Okay, so we've got 3 minutes. Time for one more question, if anyone has a question. If not, we might wrap it. Lisa, Laura, any questions?
Hi. Hi. Sorry, I joined late. At the end, I left from my job late. So yeah, well, at least
that's fine.
I managed to hear a few more minutes. Well, actually, I don't have any question. Well, I had a lot of questions, but I don't have any specific question because I started this. I mean, this is all new for me. So just I'm listening. It's very interesting. Just wanted to say that.
Welcome to the wonderful world of food photography, then.
Exactly. Thank you.
What do you like? What do you like cooking or baking or photographing? Have you discovered that?
Well, actually, I like to bake like muffins, brownies, cakes, all these kind of cakes. But I haven't started photographing anything yet. So it's like now I'm reading, all these kind of things. And I want to start practicing like as soon as possible.
Perfect.
Yeah.
What are you shooting with? What's your tool?
I have a Nikon. It's a D610.
Oh, that's a good camera. Well, nice.
Yeah, I bought it a long time ago because I wanted to do some photography. Finally, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do it now. Yeah, and the lens is 50 millimeters. Yeah.
You got the perfect kit. So your photos, you're already like amazing. Like the camera is really good and the lens, it's one of the best ones for food photography. So you're all set.
Thank you. Yeah, I just need to start.
That's fine. It takes a little bit of time. But so tune in to the next events as well. So you can get all of this knowledge, and then it's going to be easier for you to get the courage to actually implement and start shooting, because you've got a bit of knowledge in your bag. So
okay, thank you. Yeah, I would love to join the next event. I hope I'm gonna make it.
Yes, I hope to see you there.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, any more questions, or anyone wants to have a little chat?
I just wanted to say that it was super, super nice presentation, like straight to the point and everything. And I really like the way how you also described like how to mix those different compositions, because this one is like we usually just like forget about this one and then we focus on one instead of building all those layers and making photos even more interesting. So it was super, super nice.
Thank you. And there's more rules in the course that we're building. So let's talk about that a little bit. So basically, we are creating this community. And thank you guys so much for turning up today. Like, it was awesome to see you. And some of like Simone and some, like, we're getting really close now. And we love the community aspect of this platform because we know a lot of you now, like Simone has been to some of our events and like we're friends, and like it's important to have a network and a connection of people, because we're always here to help on the journey basically. Because when I started, I had no one to turn to. I had to learn everything by myself, spend hours and like tears, because I also started 10 years ago. So there wasn't all that much information as much as there is now. So I had to like, you know, go crazy over it. So it's really important to have like a supportive community. So we're creating this space. And because we know, like I mentor students and they always come to me for like questions and stuff. So with Laura, we are creating a proper course, and this is going to be the best one and most comprehensive course on food photography. She's got lots of experience in like social media and like blogging and all of that part of food photography. I have experience in like advertising and more serious like studio photography. So the two of us combined, we make like a super food photographer, and we want to share everything. So I spent a month at Laura's place and we're creating like an amazing course. We're gonna launch it soon, and all of the dream team, yes. We're gonna launch it soon, so that you can always go back to that and find all the information that you need. And we go really in depth into every aspect of food photography. So these live events that we do are awesome because we get to connect with you guys and we get to share some of this knowledge. But then in the course, we really dive deep into every topic. So stay tuned because that's coming and it's going to be super exciting. Yes. But thank you for coming. It like really means a lot to us. And I hope this was helpful as well. So like tune into the next ones.
Yes.
It was so good. Yeah, it was to the point, exactly what Laura said. And it was great as a just a refresher as well, because I feel for myself, maybe it's the same for other people, I end up sticking to like one or two of the same things. And this was like, oh yeah, that one.
Why haven't I used this one for a while?
Yeah, exactly. It's like you have one pair of shoes that you always wear, and then you go into your closet, you're like, oh, there's another favorite of mine. So yeah, it was super good.
That's good, Simone. Thank you for the feedback. Yes. Thank you for the feedback.
Thank you.
And if you have any questions, if you want feedback on your photos, I encourage you to post them on the platform because we're there and we see you and we give detailed feedback. So Taylor, if you want to post your pancake photo, please do. I would love to see it. Laura, if you're like, whenever you feel ready to start, please share your work so we can see it and like guide you, give feedback, give compliments and stuff, and just motivate each other and learn from each other and improve all together. And Diana, now that you mentioned your Instagram, I do remember your Instagram and I really, really love what you do there. Like the three, your grid is divided into like those 3 with different, bravissima, just carry on. I love that.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And also thanks a lot for this presentation. It was very helpful. And like Simone said, I also knew the rules, but it's hard for me to apply them. This is where I struggle the most. The theory is okay, but when it comes to practice, well,
I imagine
that
sometimes you have to do it with a little bit of like you have to do it consciously. Like, okay, today I am shooting and I'm applying negative space. So the advice that we gave Simone, because if you do it this way, in a bit like in a structured way, then you build the muscle memory so that after maybe like a month or 2 months that you start applying all these rules, then they just come to you. Like Laura and I, we don't really think about here we use the rule of thirds, or here we use the golden ratio. It just, our eyes automatically know what to do. It's like riding a bike. The more you practice riding the bike, when you go on the bike after 6 months of practice, you don't, like, it just goes. You don't even know how you're doing it. So start by focusing on one at a time, and then when you build the muscle memory, then you can start mixing them together, and then things become fun.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for the feedback.
Thank you.
All right, I'll stop
And
talking
also,
now.
wait,
Go.
I have some annoying requests as well. #Instagram Live. So So can we make like a group photo or something that I can post there, and I can also like tag you, all of you guys as well. So if you put them in the chat, like your Instagram account name, then it's easier, because I know some of you, but I think some members are new, so I don't know how to tag you. So if you want to share the Instagram, then just put it in the comments. And if you don't want to show your face, then just turn off the video or something, or turn on the video. So it's just like,
let's do it.
Like a quick story here, and everyone can like wave or something.
That's not creepy at all.
That's not creepy at all. We're just making a super awkward story here.
Awkward!
Just another normal day.
Another day at the office. But we have social threads on Saturdays. So on Saturdays, you feel free to share your Instagram, your Pinterest, your Facebook, whatever social media link that you have, so we can connect with each other. That's how I looked at Diana's work, because she shared her Instagram on one of our threads. So it's interesting, like, to see what other photographers are doing.
Yeah, exactly.
And like, we connect.
And then also you can connect as well. Like, as you see, like, we have 2 people from Canada. Like, are you in different parts of Canada or not? Like, maybe you can meet each other. Because it's like super exciting like this. Sometimes it's like you can just like collaborate or find like accountability buddy, and it's like, for example, me and Julia are always like accountability buddies for each other, because it's like sometimes I'm feeling down, not feeling like working, and then she's like, why don't you do it like this? And then other times it's the other way around. So it's super nice to have like the community around you.
Yes, motivate each other and learn from each other. Absolutely. Okay, we're gonna let you go, because we all have lives, we're all busy, some people are working. So grande, yes, good thinking, Taylor. Let's share our Instagrams. And if you tag the Food Photo Circle account, we also reshare and feature your images on the Instagram account. So tag us. Laura's the social media queen. Tidbits by Taylor. Yes, I think
sometimes
I do
it's
follow
annoying,
you already.
but it's like, it's essential as well sometimes.
It is. It's part of the fun, because shooting pretty pictures without no one looking at them, like, you know, sometimes it's good to share. You get lots of energy from, you know, people and commenting feedback on your work, and feedback, very useful feedback to grow.
Yes.
Simone, she does the most beautiful vegan stuff. I don't know how you make that stuff look so good, Simone. Mamma mia, it's just amazing.
Yeah, it's delicious. I have tasted this one like when I was in Portugal. It's like vegan comfort food, and you don't even understand this vegan. It's like, whoa.
Yum.
Guys, I completed my logo. So when I sent off my first quote, I had my logo on the quote, and it was pretty exciting.
That's awesome. Yeah. Simone just got her first client, and we are very excited. Well done, Simone. Very proud. Very proud. Keep
and you
going.
use the daily calculator as well, like to figure out the prices and everything.
Yes, I watched your seminar like multiple times, and then even then I felt nervous sending it.
I am still nervous sending estimates. It's fine. Don't worry.
But I figure, you know, anyone that does anything for the first time is nervous. So I had to put it out of my mind and just be like, it is what it is. And exactly what you said, which was really important, which I say to my students as well, is, you know, don't undercharge yourself, even though you are a beginner. Yep. So I kept that in my mind, your words, and I made sure that when I sent the quote, I sent it fair, considering it was a small little business, because you mentioned that also. So, yeah.
Well done. Awesome. Yes, because
thanks for all that information.
No, you're welcome. That's why we do it, so that you guys can like go. If you want to become pros, you can go out and make money. Simone is referring to a video class that I did on how to price your photography if you want to get clients, and how to send estimates, and how to obviously get paid what you're worth, even if you're a beginner, because you shouldn't undercharge yourself. So I did a whole class on that as well, which is going to be in our business course. So if you want to go pro, again, there's a ton of information there. And I am so happy that was helpful, Simone. Great. Congrats. And keep going. Just smash it. Like, sometimes it's you have to get rejected a few times, and so that you build some thick skin, but you shouldn't like compromise on your pricing too much just because clients cannot afford your services. They're not the right clients for you. You shouldn't measure your self-worth based on clients' budgets. If that makes sense. All right, great. I can see that we've shared. Lisa, I love the name of your Instagram account, Mangoes and Maple. I'm gonna check it out straight away and connect with you. So yeah, it's been an hour. Thanks so much, everyone, again, for coming. It means a lot to us, and we hope this was helpful / fun and everything in between. And I will see you all on the platform, and I hope to see you at the next event where Laura's going to talk about styling.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes. See you soon.
Ciao. Have a great rest of the day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.